Hello YouTube, this is my day 13 drawing for Inktober. So unfortunately, I started the sketch and forgot to hit record on my camera. But I guess we're still getting in here pretty early. This drawing was inspired by my love for the movie How to Train Your Dragon, and my surprise at the fact that dogs apparently eat pumpkin. My dog had been having stomach issues and my vet suggested we start feeding him pumpkin for fiber. I was so shocked at how much he liked it. I had no idea dogs liked pumpkin. And with it being Halloween and me having watched How to Train Your Dragon earlier that week, I thought it would be fun to draw a dragon eating pumpkin. My favorite dragon type in How to Train Your Dragon is a monstrous nightmare, so I used this as an opportunity to draw him for the first time. I have to say, drawing the monstrous nightmare was a much bigger challenge than I thought it would be. My sketch started off with an orange pencil crayon, but once the composition was laid in, I switched to red and started adding details to my dragon. I find that in the sketch stage, using different colors helps me visually separate things out a bit better. I started with inking the monstrous nightmare because he was the hardest to draw and had the most details, and I would have been infuriated if I spent ink on the whole background only to mess up on the dragon. I wanted to do a black night sky and I knew that would eat up a lot of my ink. I don't know what it is about monstrous nightmares, but they are the cutest dragon to me. Yeah, Toothless looks like a cat, but the monstrous nightmare can set himself on fire. And no, I don't know why I find that really cute, but I really do. When inking his horns, I didn't follow the sketch lines very well and used them more as a guide. I think maybe I should try not to do this as much. As I continued, I realized that the reason I'd sketched his horns at those angles was to suggest his head was tilting a bit, and as I inked the horns in that other direction, it took away from the head tilt. I want to draw another monstrous nightmare in the future, and probably study more reference pictures. The monstrous nightmare has his horn scaly thingies on his back. The ones behind him look much larger and longer than the ones closer to us, which is odd. I think that happened because I'd put together a whole bunch of reference shots from the movie, and I didn't have a very good understanding of what they were. And I know when you do fan art, you don't need to make it exactly perfect, but you should still be deciding on the design of things and why they look that way so that you can be consistent. I gave the pumpkins on the front there the thickest lines because they were the closest to us. I was trying hard to create a sense of depth and that the night sky was super far away. Also, this drawing showed me that I seem to have a love for drawing pumpkins. Drawing the stems and the pumpkins was much more fun than I thought it would be. Next year I'm going to draw a pumpkin patch, I think. Once I completed putting in the first set of thin lines, I let the ink dry, then erased the colored pencil. So my camera cut out while I was drawing the outline of the grass. And then I manually cut out footage of me filling in the black background because watching me fill in plain black ink isn't very fun. I definitely used the wrong pen for this. I think I should have used either a Copic marker or maybe some ink with a paintbrush. It bugged me how I could see all the streaks in the area that's supposed to be black. And I don't think it's an issue with the pen itself. I just don't think it was made to do something like this. I think I need to do a little more research regarding what tools I use and what their purposes are for. I usually just use, whatever, but Inktober is starting to lead me to a place where I think I need to put a little more thought into things like that. Shading the Monstrous Nightmare's claws was so fun to me. I was happy I was able to use dark black with cross-hatching to suggest the way that the nail curves. With all the texture I put on the drawing, it makes me wonder if I should have made the dragon's horns appear black. Though when I made that consideration, I'd already made the full background black. I don't think it would have looked good to have black horns and a black background. Also sorry for my bits of hair that keep popping into screen, my bad. It was kind of funny to me how the inking around his front wing there kept getting bigger and bigger. As I added textures and line thickness to other parts of the dragon, it kept affecting how I viewed that front wing. And it just kept feeling more and more necessary to increase the outline around it, particularly because I didn't have the luxury of color to help me out in creating separation. Once I had all the scales drawn into the arm, I thought like it would look funny if the rest of the dragon wasn't as detailed. But my alarm bells were still going off at this point. Also, for the next time I draw a Monstrous Nightmare, I have to really figure out what those thingies on his back is. Knowing what they are probably would have gone a long way in me doing the positioning correctly. My favorite texturing in this drawing did end up being the scales on the legs and arms. They looked more lizardy to me. And I was happy when I added in the black splotches that Monstrous Nightmares have on their body because it seemed to blend really well with the scales. Maybe I should have done the scales the same way as the body, but I thought that would be a bit of overkill. Maybe I should have just worked a little bit more cross-hatching into the texture of the back. Rewatching the video, it does seem that I rushed that part a bit. I was admittedly tired when I completed this drawing. The point of Inktober is to do a drawing every day, but I think in real day-to-day life, it's important to recognize when you need to step away and get some sleep or a snack. Sometimes it's surprising what even a bowl of cereal will do for me when I'm in the middle of a frustrating drawing. One of the pumpkin's top has been ripped off, And then you look in his mouth and the stem is actually still attached to the top part he had ripped off. My goal should be for the line art to convey, hey, this is a pumpkin, not just the fact that the thing in his mouth is orange and the things surrounding him are pumpkins. Drawing the busted open pumpkins helped me accomplish that. I think I should have either avoided putting the detailed scales on the tail or left the little ridges on the tail more white. I feel like that corner with the tail and the ridges are drawing way too much attention to that area. Also, the pumpkin stems were the funnest thing to ink in this drawing. I kept it very loose and cartoony. It was so much fun, it kind of makes me wonder if I might have a hidden passion for drawing fruit. I loved how sketchy and Tim Burton-y they looked. Most of my effort and work went into texturizing my dragon and adding shadow, but I didn't feel like this was an okay looking piece until I put the work into my pumpkins. I didn't texturize them too much because I wanted them to contrast with the dragon. I felt like white, more plain, giant pumpkins with big thick lines would help balance out the drawing a bit better. I feel like I was successful in that regard. I do have some sketchy lines that show the ridges of the pumpkins, but I did avoid cross-hatching shadows below them or in the ridges too much. It would seem like if you put too much detail on one part of the drawing, you should put it in the other so that it'll look balanced. But in this case, I felt like the plain pumpkins and the super texturized dragon created more balance. But that could also be because the pumpkins are so close to us and the way they're arranged around Mr. Dragon. All in all, I think I could have done better, but I did okay. But it's definitely going to be a personal challenge of mine in the future to draw a better Monstrous Nightmare and get some black ink that will not be as streaky in the background. Thank goodness I was able to mess with the drawing in Photoshop a bit and fix it in the final. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.